Hello and welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. It is one of the most explosive weeks of the year. You would think I'm talking about the United Nations General Assembly, which snarls traffic in Manhattan and makes all Manhattanites think, my God, if only they could move the UN to literally anywhere else in the world, boy, wouldn't we be relieved. It has been pretty awful because there was an eSIM scare. The Secret Service busted an eSIM ring, which could have crippled communications in the city and, God forbid, been the precursor to something absolutely horrific. So that was foiled. And then the president went to the UN and railed against globalists in a very entertaining speech because apparently the teleprompter was down for much of it, but that didn't stop him from talking and going after the type of globalists that he has been dead set against. Because you can't have an America First agenda and also cheerlead globalism the way, President Obama did and other fabulists who ran their respective corners of the globe for so long. Of course, the president railed against immigration and made no new friends. There are many countries who seek to issue statehood officially to Palestine. The United States and Israel not among them. So that has opened up its own fissure. It's very interesting because as they talk about a solution for Palestine, they rail against genocide. But it's very interesting because they never bring up Hamas. These are very, very strange times. And people love to omit very important pieces of information when they are crafting their case for how they think the world should work. The president did make a very good argument for how the UN has fallen short in terms of keeping peace around the planet and cooling tensions in warring factions. He congratulated himself for slowing down the wars in Africa and Asia and elsewhere, while saying the UN has really done nothing to make the world safer or better. I don't disagree with that. I think you can look at the UN and go, okay, other than making traffic absolutely miserable for New Yorkers, what have you done? And why do you take so much of our money? So that's one tumultuous week. The other tumultuous week that is exploding in your face right now, of course, is Fat Bear Week. And no, I'm not talking about Brett Bear. He is very trim. He is not a husky man. When I mentioned Fat Bear Week last time I interviewed Brett Bear, he was a little bit offended, so I gave him a giant bottle of scotch. Things have been pretty good between us since then. Brett Bear, he is in great shape. The bears, the big brown bears at Katmai Park on the Brooks River in Alaska, they are husky. They are chunky. They are like pre-Ozempic Lizzo, and there's so much more of them to love. So Fat Bear Week is a competition where there are bear cams, which sounds very naughty and salacious, but it's actually really fun because you get to see them gobbling up all the salmon in the river. And they really just pack it on between July and September. They're getting ready to hibernate. And of course, bears are closer to my heart than they have ever been because I have had encounters with bears and bear poop, a lot of bear poop. We have a cabin in the woods, which we frequent, and the bears, for some reason, find our property to be very habitable. And so we have cameras set up all over the yard. And when I say we, I mean my sexy teenage boyfriend did that.
Don't go anywhere. More Kennedy Saves the World right after this.
We have had so much bear activity. In fact, when my sexy teenage boyfriend / tour manager was starting a campfire in July, he heard nothing but turned over to his right, and there was a giant male bear. We think it was a male because it was wearing pearls. So we're like, oh, it's like a Harry Styles man bear, and was standing right like 5 feet away from him. So being a smart person who knows how to not panic, he stood up slowly, and the bear was like, "Ah, you're such a hulking piece of man muscle, like that Brett bear." The bear just took off running. The dog started barking. The dog tried to run after the bear. One of the children's ran around the deck to catch a glimpse of the bear and screamed like they had a limb amputated. And so I ran outside. I was like, oh no, someone's fallen into the fire. But it was a massive bear sighting. So when you interface with bears, you have to respect them. You cannot startle them. You never, ever come in between a mom and her cubs. We had a mama bear and 3 cubs just waltzing through our driveway the other day. Literally, like, we pulled away, and an hour later, the mom's like, "Coast is clear, kids. Let's see if they have any scraps left in the campfire from where they were making s'mores." Even that dumb gluten-free graham cracker crumb is pretty delicious this time of year. So they're like rolling around, and you look at the video in the yard and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. But then you realize, like, if I were there, because I love to snip some wild mint in the morning and have some delicious mint tea. If I had gotten in between the mom and her bears, the only red on my dress would have been the bloodstains from where I had been ruthlessly mauled. So thank goodness I was not there. I do like to look at the bears from afar, which makes Fat Bear Week that much more satisfying. So between today and September 30th, just Google Katmai, Katmai, Bear Week, Fat Bear Week, not just Bear Week, no skinny bears. It's not bikini season, all right? It's season. And it's Cardi B before she got the BBL removed season. So you can go ahead and find the bears. You can vote for your favorite. I'm voting for 503 because that's the Oregon area code. And I think 503 has a really, really good shot this year. There's Chonk, there's Grazer, there's Biggie. There's all sorts of fun bears that are just getting nice and blubbery. I mean, they're terrifying. You know, it's like the bears that we have in the woods, they're black bears. They don't want any piece of you. They don't want a hard time. They just want to be left alone. And but brown bears, oh, they'll eat your ass and snap your legs like twigs and use your femurs as toothpicks and smile while you're dying. You saw The Revenant. So go vote for your favorite fat bear, because between now and next week, you may be responsible for crowning the ultimate Alaskan champion, and I hope you do. So go forth. If you're not in New York for Unga, just thank God, because there's too much security, too many cars, too many blowhards, too many globalists, and not enough people railing against expensive institutions that really don't make our lives that much better, do they? But fat bears always do. This has been Kennedy Saves the World. I'm Kennedy.
Listen ad-free with a Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app.
Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.